Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, I meant to do something behind the scenes and it kind of just started the whole thing. So, hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this live or this replay finds you well and in excellent spirits. Welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer. Oh my gosh, none of my things are working. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. All right, there's a little bit of a malfunction here on my end. I made a little boo-boo, but regardless, we are here. We are back. It's good to be back. I must say that the last couple of weeks kind of threw me for a loop because we make plans and God laughs. And honestly, there we go. Mel of Divine Feminine Works, in case you didn't catch it before. Yeah. So, like I said, these last couple of weeks really threw me for a loop because I had all of these plans, I had all these things I needed to do, and Spirit was like, nope. I need you to sit down for a second. I need you to do this instead. And so when Spirit talks, I definitely listen. And so that's why I've been away for a little bit. I've been a little quiet, had to do some recalibration behind the scenes, but I am back. And honestly, I feel like I'm better than ever. And we are making our way to the end of 2024. Like, I can't even believe that we're about to be in November next week, right? So we are winding things down and we're getting down and dirty. You know why? Because apart from Virgo season, my other favorite season is starting this week, which is Scorpio season. It's dark, it's mysterious, but most importantly, it is transformative. All right. So we've got not a lot going on in the sky this week. However, we do have some intensity, and that's always a great thing. All right. But before I get into all of the great details of the astrology for the week, housekeeping announcements, all that good stuff. So, to go back to my intro, if you are someone who's into astrology, this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that. None of this stuff is working. Everything is like super slow. So I think that's Spirit's way of saying, you know what, you don't need all the bells and whistles. You kind of just, let's just get to the details. Let's just get to the end. There we go. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell if you haven't already, if you like those things or if you want to learn more about those things. All right. So in terms of announcements, and hopefully these things work. So, as always, if you are aware or not, I have a bi-weekly free live workshop on how to read your natal chart. I call it Your Cosmic Selfie, an intro to your natal chart. It is every 2 weeks. It is absolutely free, and it's a great way to get an introduction to your natal chart so you can start learning how to read it, all right? And if you are interested, the link will be in the description box below and will be linked to the video so you can sign up. I highly suggest it. It's about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. It's short, sweet, to the point. It's really interesting. And again, it's a great way to start learning and getting familiar with your natal chart. So definitely sign up for that. And now, what I'm most excited about right now is my first ever program, which is called Scorpio Season Soul Work, Transformation and Healing Through Sound. So apart from being a professional astrologer, I am also a sound therapist. So I basically, everything that I do is geared toward helping you heal, getting you to understand yourself through astrology and helping you heal your physical, spiritual, and emotional bodies through sound therapy. And so I'm putting both of these together in this 4-week program that is running throughout Scorpio season. So in these weekly sessions, we will meet, we will do breath work, some sound therapy, go over some astrology, affirmations. The whole point of this program is to get you right. And I'm doing this during Scorpio season because Scorpio season, and I will go into this in depth in a little bit, this is the season when you transform. Everyone is always concerned about January. Everyone's like, oh, New Year's resolutions start in January. No, January is the middle of winter. Scorpio season is death and rebirth. So if there's ever a time when you want to change things in your life in a profound and permanent way, you do it during Scorpio season. And so that's why I've created this program. I'm really proud about it. I'm really proud of it. I'm sure you guys will love it. It is not that much. We meet 4 times, and by the time that we are done, you guys will have healed, not completely because healing is not linear, but you will have healed and you will have gained insight into what exactly, not only do you need to heal, what you need to work on, but what you are trying to manifest and perhaps what is blocking you from manifesting those things. So if you are interested, link will be in the description box below. I'm also going to go live on Thursday evening to talk more about the program and to answer any questions. So if you're like, yo, this sounds really good, but I'm not too sure, what's it about? Don't worry, I got you covered. I'm going to go live and talk all about it on Thursday. All right. But again, link is in the description box below. All right. So that's announcements and everything like that. Let's see if my this fancy thing works. All right. So we'll keep this up for a little while. I know this is so weird because this feels a little foreign to me because I've only been away for like 2 weeks. However, in those 2 weeks, I've done so much inner work. I've done so much recalibration that I feel like a new person. So this all feels new to me. So if it looks like I'm fumbling, if it looks like I don't know what I'm talking about, well, I do know what I'm talking about. But if it looks like I'm a little scattered, that's why. All right. But in any event, this week, but before we get into the week, I have to give a special shout out to Patricia Jean. Today is her birthday. And so I want everyone in the chat to wish Patricia Jean a happy birthday. All right. Today is her special day. I love her to bits. She is my sister. So yes. So you kind of have to. But in any event, wish her a happy birthday. Send her well wishes as today is her special day. All right. So let's talk about the week, honey. We don't have much going on. There is not a lot happening this week, and that's good because it gives us the opportunity to focus on the task at hand, which is Scorpio season. Now, it's so interesting because I've noticed that over the last couple of years, specifically, Halloween has become this. I don't want to call it a monstrosity, but I will say Halloween has become like the it holiday. And I don't know if it's just because of the algorithm and who I am, who I follow and whatnot. Clearly I'm in the spiritual community, so whatever. But everyone loves Halloween. It's like spooky season, Scorpio season, sweater weather, pumpkin spice latte. Like autumn seems to be pretty much everyone's favorite season for the most part, at least as of late. But Halloween is a big thing. And the thing about Scorpio season is that it's not just about Halloween. You've got Halloween, you've got the Day of the Dead, you have ancestor veneration, you have Fête Gede, you have so much that happens in Scorpio season. And then you'll have another camp of people who are afraid of Scorpio season, right? I know we've all encountered people who are like, Halloween is devil's things and all of that stuff, right? Because Scorpio season, it has a very distinct flavor, right? It's mysterious, it's dark. Everything about Scorpio has to do with the underworld, right? Things that are not necessarily savory or palatable, right? There's a place for that in our lives. And there's this one piece of advice that I got, I want to say like 12 years ago, and it always stuck with me. And it is so super simple. And the advice is mine your life. Mining your life means it's not always about going out and learning new things, getting new things, finding new people. It's kind of like excavating your own self for the wealth within. And that phrase not only has stuck with me, but it always is like stuck in my head during Scorpio season, because this is the time when we are to go within. Everything about Scorpio energy is underneath. It's underneath the surface. It's underground, right? Scorpio is very much representative of death. Rebirth also, but death. And think about death. When people die, they are buried underground, right? Everything underground is what we focus on during Scorpio season. Now, most of you are on a spiritual journey, because I know that if you are tuned into this channel, you've at least started, you're somewhere on the journey. Like, I'm not speaking to, I don't think, very much newbies, right? So when you look at your life, when you look at the circumstances in your life, a lot of times we want certain things, we don't get them, or there's delays, or we're frustrated. And we always tend to look outward. At least before we were on this spiritual journey and we knew better, we were like, oh, it's this person's fault. It's this circumstance. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm going to tell you something. And this may not come as a surprise to some, but to some it may. A lot of times what stands in the way is you. It's not anything else but you and your stuff, you and your baggage, you and your hangups, your insecurities, your fears, all the things that we stuff underneath the surface, right? Everything that we don't want to address, don't want to pay attention to, that we want to ignore, that we don't want to integrate. Guess what? When it's Scorpio season, it's like pet cemetery up in this bitch. All of that stuff comes right back up in true Halloween fashion, right? In order to be addressed. When you address it and you let it go, it no longer stands in your way. That's why Scorpio is very much about hidden wealth and hidden power. And so if you have money issues, if you have even relationship issues, if you have emotional issues, if you have issues, right? Scorpio season is when you address them. It's when you, if going back to the example of minding your life, right? You're going to put on a hazmat suit, a helmet, or some protective gear, and you're about to go deep under the surface, right? And figure out what's not working or what is rotten within you. It could be physically, it could be emotionally, it could be mentally. This is the season for that. And it's intense. If you ever really stopped and thought about how Scorpio season feels, it feels kind of heavy. It feels dark, right? This is the time of year, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, where we turn our clocks back, right? Where we get an extra hour of sleep, but the days are getting longer. And not the days, the nights are getting longer, right? And, people can be afraid of the dark. You don't know what's in the dark. You don't know what's lurking behind there, right? Things like fear, insecurity, lack of empowerment. These are the things that Scorpio season urges you to address. Because when you address it, that is when you truly change. And understand that there's levels to this shit. It's not just about doing inner work, as I've come to realize over the last couple of weeks. It's emotional work, it's physical work, it's mental work, it's layers. And Scorpio wants you to go through all of them, because apart from transformation, Scorpio has a lot to do with evolution. So, over the next couple of weeks, apart from this program that I'm doing, I really want to help enrich you during this Scorpio season in order to sort of prod you to change, because I really don't want you to wait until January, because January, you kind of missed the boat already. Think of it this way. Scorpio it's a fixed sign, right? But it's about transformation, about death and rebirth. When we talk about January 1st and New Year's resolutions, that's Capricorn season. Although Capricorn is a cardinal sign, it's Earth. It moves super slow, and it's the middle of winter. So if you start to implement the changes now, by the time Capricorn season comes around, by the time January comes around, whatever you've begun now will have solidified, and you'll be ahead of the game. And not to say that it's a race, right? However, what better time to start than now? Because you definitely don't want to delay your manifestations. You don't want to delay your desires. You don't want to delay the life that you truly want. But understand that it takes work. And Scorpio season gives us ample opportunity to do the work. All right. So whether you're doing it with me in the program or whether you're doing it on your own, the work must be done. And again, Scorpio season is the best time to do it. All right. Other than all of that, there isn't much else going on this week. It's kind of a light week. So like I said, gives us the opportunity to really focus in on this Scorpio on this Scorpio energy. And this is leading up to the new moon in Scorpio, which is going down on November 1st. And this is one of those new moons that you definitely don't want to miss. I'm dropping a video on that on Friday. Plus, I'll be talking about it ad nauseum next week. So we'll leave that for then. But as for now, get ready to get down and dirty because you've got life to live. You have abundance to create and have. You have dreams to fulfill, and the work starts right now. All right. So, with all of that said, let's move into a regularly scheduled program and talk about what we've got going on for this week. If I didn't mention before, this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of October 21st through October 27th. So let's look at the highlights and see what we've got going on for the week. All right. Wow, you can't see me. I didn't format any of this. I thought I did, but all right. So okay. So, as far as the highlights for the week, we have what I like to call the Phoenix Rises. This is Scorpio season. Now, the Phoenix rises is such a beautiful imagery, right? It's this bird on fire, right? That rises from the ashes. But remember what precedes that is that something has to be burned, something has to be decimated. There's also this element of purification through fire that Scorpio season allows us to experience. Okay. Then we have what I like to call a date with destiny. And this is Venus trine the North Node, which is actually happening today. And so this is like the right people, the right associations, the right resources, even to get you to where you need to go. It's beautiful energy. And then finally, we have what I like to call inspired actions. And this is a Mars sextile Uranus, which is happening later in the week. And it's like a donkey kick in the face from the universe in the best way possible. I mean that in the best way possible, in the sense that it really wakes you up and gets you motivated, right? Perhaps in a direction you didn't necessarily think you'd go in, but a direction that you need to go in nonetheless. All right. So those are the highlights. Now let's get into the week. Yeah, I did not format any of this. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's get into the week. Hopefully this works. Perfect. So for the week of October 21st, this is what we have going on. So first, we've got Venus trine the North Node. We've got the Sun square Pluto, Mercury trine Saturn, my favorite, Sun entering Scorpio. And then we close out the week with Mars sextile Uranus. All right. And as far as the moon is concerned for this week, we've got the waning gibbous moon in Cancer, followed by the last quarter moon in Leo. And then we close out the week with the waning crescent moon in Virgos. Like I said, pretty light week. All right. So speaking of the week, let's get into it. And of course, we start off with Monday. Monday. All right. So let's see what we've got going on for Monday. So today we've got Venus trine the North Node and the waning gibbous moon in Cancer. All right. So this is going to be a day where you may be in your feelings. There may be a lot of emotions going on because the moon is in Cancer. However, I get the sense that they're going to be good feelings because you might feel like you've found who you needed or what you needed to either get ahead or to get going. All right. So let's see what this looks like on the chart. All right, so at the upper right-hand corner, you will see Venus at 5 degrees of Sagittarius. At the left-hand portion of the chart, that horseshoe is the North Node. That's at 6 degrees of Aries. Then at the bottom of the chart, you will see the moon at 0 degrees of Cancer. All right, so Venus trine North Node. This is really beautiful energy because, again, it's like finding the right people at the right time to get you on the right track. All right. And I can attest to this because I was literally in a group call right before I started this live, and it was like everyone sort of figuring out their purpose, communing, giving everyone encouragement and tips. It has a very community-based feeling to it. But not just that, both Venus and the North Node are in fire signs. Venus is in Sagittarius, the North Node is in Aries. So there is this element of getting to it, right? Taking action and finding the right people to help you take that action. It's really being in the right place at the right time. And it's people perhaps recognizing within you what your purpose is, what your mission is. Remember, anytime we talk about the North Node, it's really your North Star. It's where you are headed. And it's like this particular transit. And again, it's Venus trying the North Node. It's like people being like, oh my gosh, Mel does this. Let me have her help me with this. Mel is an astrologer. Let me have her read my chart. Mel does sound therapy. Let me get a spiritual consultation, right? Like people recognizing your purpose and everything sort of flowing together, or you recognizing the purpose in someone else and saying, wow, you're really good at this. Maybe you should pursue this. This could be getting the right resources, getting the right information to really put you on the right track. So pay attention to what happens. Even if anything didn't happen today, it could happen. It could have happened over the weekend, could happen in the next couple of days. Pay attention to whomever orbits into your reality. I'm pretty sure they serve a very important purpose when it comes to your purpose. So definitely pay attention. And then we have the waning gibbous moon in Cancer. So we're just off the heels of that full moon in Aries that we had last week. So we are in the waning phase. So this is when we divest ourselves of everything that we don't need. Okay. So when the moon is in Cancer, it's at home because Cancer is its home sign, number one. And Cancer is very watery. It's a cardinal water sign. So this is sort of the initiation of emotions. So when we have a waning moon in Cancer, it's really about letting go of things that don't feel good. Perhaps things that don't make you feel secure. They don't make you feel loved. They don't make you feel accepted. Cancerian energy has a lot to do with our basic emotional needs. So anything that doesn't fit into those basic emotional needs, you kind of just need to either let fall by the wayside or just completely obliterate, right? Because you don't need it. A lot of times we end up taking on emotions which aren't ours. And I will give you a perfect example of this. So we are nearing elections here in the US, and the shit is bonkers, put it mildly, right? But I've noticed, the TV tends to be on MSNBC in this house a lot. My mom likes to watch MSNBC, and it's like news is talking about chaos and whatever is coming out of Trump's mouth or ass at any given hour. Then it's followed by a pharmaceutical commercial, which may have you like farting oil out of your ass as a side effect. Then I noticed there's also this tag team between animals that need to be saved and children with cancer. So it's like you're the whole spectrum of emotions is like fearful because there's this chaos on the news. Probably a little worried because maybe you think you have something that this pill can solve, right? Then feeling sadness because these kids with cancer and these dogs, like these, ASPCA commercials. And I'm just like, they really want people to be fucked up. Like they want you to be all types of unsettled, all types of anxious, all types of scared. It's crazy. And so this says to me that perhaps a lot of the emotions that you're feeling are not necessarily yours. Okay. This could just be the propaganda that they are feeding you. This is other people's anxieties, right? It's like misery loves company. So people love to spread the misery and the anxiety around. So when the moon is in Cancer and it is waning, it is a great time to divest yourself of all of these excess emotions. It's not to say that we don't feel bad about the children with cancer or the animals that, are abandoned, right? But you can't take that on and then adopt that and say, oh, yeah, this is how I'm feeling. The word to the wise, divest yourself of what is not yours, especially emotionally speaking. All right. So that's today. And the next up, we've got Tuesday. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't format any of this. So it's just, yeah. All right. So on Tuesday, we've got the Sun square Pluto. We've got Mercury trine Saturn, and then we have the Sun entering Scorpio. All right. So let's see what this looks like on the chart. At the upper right-hand corner, you will see both the Sun and Mercury are both in Scorpio. And at the upper left-hand portion of the chart, you will have Saturn that's currently in Pisces. All right, so let's discuss. So before the sun changes signs, typically the day before, the sun is at the 29th degree of the previous sign. So currently, or at least, yeah, currently the sun is at 29 degrees of Libra. The 29th degree is the critical degree. In astrology, it's called the anaretic degree, and it's the most sort of intense degree of all the degrees of that sign. So right now, the sun is really, really, really Libra, right? It's that last ditch effort to harness the energy of that sign before it moves into the next one. So right now, it's like balance. Everything is about balance in a very intense sort of way. And so before the sun moves into Scorpio, while it is at the anaretic degree of Libra, it will square Pluto. And I just said the 29th degree is like the most intense degree, and Pluto is the most intense planet. So if you are feeling the intensity right now, that is why. So the sun in Libra is like everybody get along, balance, harmony, all of that stuff. Whereas Pluto in Capricorn is more like, no, this is how things have been done. This is how things are changing. Things are going to be intense. I don't have the energy to worry about everyone being happy and cooperative. So if you find that on the one hand, maybe you're trying to play peacemaker today in the midst of chaos and you don't necessarily seem to be winning at that task, or you just find that things are off kilter or things are feeling really intense, that's definitely why. Okay. And so Libra also wants to be very social, right? Sun in Libra is like communing with other people, being social, all of that good stuff, right? But Pluto and Capricorn is like, nah, we got work to do. We've got things to change. We don't have time to be socializing and kikiing with everybody right now. So that also may be another way that this plays out for you. However, whenever we have squares, and in astrology, a square is an aspect, it means that two planets are 90 degrees apart from each other. And squares denote tension and frustration, right? Tension and frustration is good because it's not always good, but the way that it is good is that it strengthens character, it builds character. And so the balance right now is between everything looking nice and pretty and aesthetic and everyone getting along and there being harmony and balance on the one hand, and on the other hand, a little bit of chaos, a little bit of uprooting, a little bit of transformation, courtesy of Pluto. Right? I mean, just take this whole election season as an example of this, right? We all want a fair election. We all want all of everyone to just get along. But if you look at what's happening, nobody's getting along, right? It is indeed a bit chaotic. It is all over the place. That's because things are in transition. And so you have to, I think the best way to describe it is like, when you're doing a deep cleaning of your house, and as you take things out, you sort of make more of a mess before you can clean it up and have this nice, clean, clear space. That's exactly what this is. So you kind of have to be okay with the mess and the transition while things balance out. That's the essence of the sun square Pluto. All right. And then Mercury will also trine Saturn. So Mercury is currently in Scorpio and Saturn is in Pisces, two water signs. So With Mercury and Scorpio, this is about getting to the truth of the matter, understanding things from a very deep and substantive level. And you get help with this via Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is sort of making dreams reality. And with Saturn in Pisces, trine Mercury in Scorpio, it's like understanding the mechanisms of your dreams. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Because a lot of times when we dream, and when I say dream, I don't necessarily mean dream when you're sleeping. I can mean daydreaming, using your imagination, visualizing, all of that stuff. It seems ethereal, right? It's almost like when you dream, it's like a cloud. You know, you've seen in television shows and cartoons that when someone is thinking or dreaming, it shows up as like a cloud, right? Saturn in Pisces helps make that cloud a little more dense. So from that cloud comes rain. Hopefully, this analogy makes sense. It's making sense in my head. This could sound like gibberish right now, but it takes that dream and makes it a lot more real. And Mercury in Scorpio helps you understand how the sausage is made. That's just my way of saying how things work behind the scenes. So now this isn't just some pie in the sky dream. This is like, oh, I need to do this so that I can have this. And I need to understand this. It's like getting to the heart of the matter. So now this is how you really make dreams reality. It's not just a thought. It's a plan. And it's a plan that comes from deep within with a deep level of understanding. All right. So use this energy for what it's there for. If you have a dream, now's a great time to do some research. And I don't mean just research on the internet. This is kind of like some soul searching research as well. This is kind of going within. Remember, my motto for Scorpio season is mine your life. That's mine, MINE, right? Like a diamond mine. So you kind of have to mine your dreams. Figure out how they work, figure out the motivations behind them, and then everything is going to become a lot clearer. Okay. And then the star of the show, the star of the week is the sun moving into the sign of Scorpio, and things are going to get intense in the best way possible. Again, if you want to make changes, this is the time. Now, the thing is, Scorpio season will impose changes on you whether you want to or not. Okay. Pluto is a planet of death and rebirth, but it's also of control. So it's very important for you to be cognizant of where I don't want to say where you align your control, but how you wield your control. Meaning, are you controlled by external circumstances, by external people, where you feel less than empowered, where you feel like you have no say, where you feel like you're kind of a victim of your circumstances? Or are you someone who empowers themselves in order to take control of the situation? Either or, you can change those things during Scorpio season. Like it really shows you where your power lies, what you've been given your power to. I mean, not to harp too much on this whole election season, but a lot of people are putting their power in that. And that's kind of a scary thing because you never want to give your power away. You always want to retain your power. That's a whole nother thing for another day, but either way, this is a season where you can empower yourself, and you do that through personal transformation. You know, a lot of times, I think the first time that I heard of this sort of scenario was during The Secret, or around that time when I first got into the law of attraction. And it was like, or no, I think it was Think and Grow Rich. When you're moving forward, sometimes you have to burn the bridge behind you so you can't go back. And that's kind of sort of the essence or the energy signature of Scorpio season. It's like, that phoenix rising from the ashes, it is purification through fire. You got to set some things ablaze sometimes. That fire that you've created, it can warm you, it can create new things. Scorpio season is death and rebirth rolled into one. And so it's a time when you're mourning what's lost and what no longer will be, while being receptive and open to what is to come and what is to be created right now. So it's a very interesting time. And so during this time, you definitely want to engage in shadow work. Okay. You want to get familiar with your shadow side. You want to make friends with your demons because that is a part of you. And it's in integrating that shadow side that you can move forward successfully. Right? Because if everything is just love and light, if everything is just roses and rainbows, if you're only paying attention to the positive, you've only got half of the story. You've only got half of your personality, and you can't get anywhere with a half. Right? Scorpio allows us to integrate that side of us that we don't necessarily like, that we don't understand, that we haven't paid attention to. And it's not to say that it's bad or it's evil or it's negative. It's not. It just is. And Scorpio season brings light to our shadow. Our shadow needs to live too. Sometimes the shadow just wants to see the light of day. Certain things just want acknowledgement, especially emotions. Right? Scorpio season has a lot to do with our repressed emotions. And here's the thing about emotions. A lot of times we don't want to feel them because they're painful, they hurt, they break our hearts. But the point of emotions is to be felt. And the more that you deny them the opportunity to be felt, the more they are going to wreak havoc in your life. Think of it as a child, a toddler that you are ignoring. You're trying your best when your toddler is tearing shit up, running amok, doing all of this shit, and you're just like, oh, I'm not going to pay attention. It's whatever. Guess what? That kid is probably going to kick you in the shin, bite you. You know, toddlers can be really, really brutal sometimes. They just want the acknowledgement. So even though it hurts to feel it, once you feel it, it goes away. The beautiful thing of emotions. And so during Scorpio season, Scorpio wants you to examine that. And with Mercury currently in Scorpio, it's like you may be feeling a little curious about it too. Like, maybe I should go to therapy, or maybe I should, revisit this trauma, right? Not for the sake of not just for the sake of it, but to heal, to let it go. The beautiful thing about letting go is that it leaves space for more. We are a consumer species, especially now. We consume everything from food to content to assets. All we want to do is consume, right? If you are backed up, what can you honestly consume? Nothing. You wonder why your manifestations aren't coming to you. Well, because you're full of shit, either literally or figuratively. And I mean that with love. Okay. Some of us are holding on to our first heartbreaks. Some of us are holding on to lost friendships. Some of us are holding on to jobs or careers that didn't work out the way that we wanted to. And we don't allow ourselves to feel it. So we stuff it under the surface. Guess what? And I'm about to be really graphic. It's time for a spiritual enema. It's time for you to let go, literally. And that is what Scorpio season is all about. Because when you let go, that's when you create new things. The other thing about Scorpio that most people associate Scorpio with is sex. What does sex do? It creates. It creates. You can't create if you're backed up. You can't create well, that is. So allow Scorpio season to do what it does, as much as it may hurt, as much as it may be scary, as much as it may be intense. Do it. Do the work. Do it now, because now is the time. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I will never deny the fact that you can manifest whatever you want, whenever you want. We are God in the flesh. We are fractals of God. We are the operant powers of our universe. However, the universe gives us a guidebook. It gives us a guidebook. It tells you October, November, make some changes in your life. right? March to April during Aries season, start some new shit. Like literally, astrology is the guidebook to life. One of the guidebooks to life, I should say. So use the energy for what it's for. And I'm going to be hammering this thing into your mind all Scorpio season. I will not let you forget this. So this is just the beginning. So if you're already tired of hearing this, tough luck. All right. But that's the sun moving into Scorpio. All right. And all of that is going down on Tuesday. So now let's go on to Thursday, which is the next day of the week. Sorry, I didn't format any of this. All right. So on Thursday, we've got Mars sextile Uranus and last quarter moon in Leo. All right. Let's see what this looks like on the chart. All right, so we've got Moon in Leo at the bottom portion of the chart. We've got Mars in Cancer, also not too far away from the moon. And then at the bottom left-hand portion of the chart, we've got Uranus in Taurus. All right, so Mars square Uranus. This is what I call the donkey kick to the face. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's sort of a way to wake you up, kind of. But Mars is currently is it still in Cancer? Yeah, Mars is still in Cancer. So it's not necessarily a donkey kick to the face, but it's this feeling. It could almost be like a tidal wave of motivation. And this motivation is coming from your intuition. Your intuition is going to be hella lit at this time, and it's going to affect your emotions. So, how this may play out is that you may all of a sudden feel angry about something. You don't even know why. You're just angry. Everyone gets on your fucking nerves. Everybody is irritating you. You're so frustrated. You're angry out of nowhere. Guess what? That's your intuition telling you to make a change about something or telling you to address something. You know, the thing about emotions is that a lot of times they're like warnings or like alerts, right? It's sort of like when your phone alerts that you have a notification. Your emotions are kind of the same thing. So you're not just angry just because this person is doing that. Remember, we're in Scorpio season. So it's not enough to say, oh, this happened because this person did this or this person didn't do that. No, get to the bottom of that shit. Where is this anger stemming from? You're frustrated at this person at your job, maybe because you don't like your job, because you're not doing what fulfills your soul. Maybe you're angry at your spouse because they left dishes in the sink, but maybe it's because they're not fucking considerate and they don't do what you ask them to do, right? There's always a deeper meaning to these emotions. And so these emotions coming up and, Mars, emotions, emotions related to Mars or corresponding to Mars are anger, rage, frustration. Could also be on the good side, motivation, drive, passion. And so your intuition is really going to be driving the car and it's going to be like, listen, you've missed all of these signs, all of these exit signs that have passed already. So I am going to get you to really notice this thing, and it's going to do it with your emotions. So pay attention to how you feel. Frustration may be a big one because Mars in Cancer is a very frustrating kind of placement. It's wanting to go after things directly, but not being able to because your emotions get in the way, hence why you feel frustration. So it's really about paying attention to how you feel and understanding the underlying cause or the underlying motivation behind those emotions. That is going to be your intuition speaking to you directly. Okay. And what's so funny? I was thinking about this the other day because one of the things that I like to do, apart from visualizing as I fall asleep, if I have a question about something, as I'm falling asleep, I say it out loud. So I'm asking God, I'm asking my spirit team, like, give me the answers. There was something I wanted the answer to. And of course, they delivered for me and I had this wonderful dream. But the thing about intuition is that it speaks in parables sometimes, which can be really confusing. Could also be very frustrating, right? That could be another way that this plays out. Your intuition, sometimes it can be very direct, but other times it's like in parables. Like if you really examine your dreams, sometimes it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's so symbolic and it's so mythological. Sometimes you're just like, "Spirit, can you just, like, give me a neon sign in plain English, what I need to know?" So that might be how this frustration plays out for you, right? However, again, pay attention to your dreams are going to be seriously important. Also, this could be guided conversations. This could be guided actions. I think I called this inspired actions in the highlight section. Like all of a sudden, you're just motivated to do something. And it could be something random. It could be something that you do, but maybe you are urged to do it more forcefully or more aggressively or more expeditiously, right? Pay attention to your promptings, pay attention to your emotions, all right? And then that same day, we have last quarter moon in Leo. I love when the moon is in Leo because it's all about play. It's all about play, it's all about heart centered energy, childlike energy, all of that stuff. And with the moon in the waning phase, in the sign of Leo in the last quarter phase, it's like, listen, if something isn't fun for you, if something isn't like enjoyable, if something isn't pleasurable, if something doesn't make you feel good, if your inner child wouldn't like it, then don't do it. Don't do it. Last quarter phase means that we're halfway between the full moon and the upcoming new moon. So it's really time to get serious about divesting yourself of what you no longer need. And I love Leo energy because it has a lot to do with the heart. And I'll never forget, I worked with this woman. This is when I was working in like corporate America, and I worked with this Jamaican woman, and every day she would come to work with like a whole coconut, like the whole coconut, not just the coconut water, the whole coconut. And she would cut up it was already cracked, but she would cut it up and eat it throughout the day and drink the water. Like she was all about coconut. And she was like, yeah, we drink coconut, we eat coconut every day to clean out our hearts. And when the moon is in Leo, it's funny enough, I was thinking about her today. When the moon is in Leo, you are to clean out your heart. Okay. We're already doing some deep work with Scorpio season, but with the waning moon in Leo during Scorpio season, clean out your heart. Meaning if you're not passionate about it, if you're not in love with it, then don't do it. And I know that can sound overly simplistic, right? It sounds very woo woo. Oh, well, I don't feel like going to work today, so I'm not going to do it. Melissa is not telling you to not go to work. Okay. What I am telling you to do is if you know that your heart is not in your job, it's time to start looking for another one. Or it's really time to start figuring out who you are. The one thing about Leo energy is that it is all about self expression and it's all about authenticity. When you are moving from your heart space, you are moving from a place of authenticity. And maybe where you're at is not a reflection of that. And so during waning moon in Leo, we clean out our hearts. Whatever's not in alignment with it, we have to let go of. All right. So that is Thursday. And then finally, we come to Saturday. Oh, this one worked out. This is great. All right. Saturday, we have the waning crescent moon in Virgo. All right. So we close out the week with the moon in Virgo in the waning phase. See what this looks like on the chart. At the bottom right hand portion of the chart, you will see the moon in Virgo. All right. And so we close out the week with the moon in Virgo, very sort of different energy than the moon in Leo. So Leo was light-hearted, childlike, heart-centered. Virgo is very grounded, very practical, very organized and efficient. And so whenever the moon is in Virgo, whether it's waxing or waning, or new or full, any phase of the moon, when it is in the sign of Virgo, that's when you do cleanup. That's when you organize. And with the waning moon in Virgo, it's like whatever is not efficient, whatever doesn't help you serve people better, whatever doesn't make your life run more smoothly, you get rid of it. Right? Virgo is great for compartmentalizing things, organizing things, perfecting things, paying attention to the details. And so when the moon is waning in Virgo, it's like pay attention to the little things in your life because little things add up. Little things add up. Just like they say, if you're spending $6 a day on coffee, that's like what, $50,000 at the end of the year or something crazy. Little things add up. And the little things that you don't need, the little things that are not an obstacle today, 6 months from now can be a huge obstacle because you've let it pile up. This could be emotionally, right? Because remember, the sun is still in the sign of Scorpio. So we're dealing with transforming, right? And if we want to transform, the waning moon in Virgo was like, listen, I need you to pay attention to the little details, the little things that could be stumbling blocks, that could turn into obstacles, that could turn into brick walls, that could turn into mountains if you don't address it. Get rid of it. It's like cleaning out your closet. You know, you went shopping thinking, oh, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna lose weight for it, knowing full well you didn't lose weight. Now it's still in the closet with the tag still on. Get rid of it. Get things that actually fit you, right? You've got a whole bunch of summer clothes that you haven't worn in 3 seasons. Get rid of them, right? Leave room for what serves you, for what is in alignment with you, and be very meticulous and pay attention to the littlest details. Because, like I said, the detail that you miss today could be the mountain that appears in your life in 6 months. All right. And so, Virgo wants you to be proactive and do some cleanup. All right. And that is how we end the week. Like I said, nothing too crazy, nothing too intense, although we are entering the season of intensity, but it is all good because at the end of Scorpio season, hopefully you will have emerged anew, right? In life, we die 1,000 deaths. And a lot of times we don't even realize it because we're not feeling the emotions, we're not paying attention, we're not conscious, but we die and are reborn on a continuous basis. The cycle of life is not just your physical birth and your physical death. You go through death and rebirth repeatedly. Now is the time to be conscious of it. Now is the time to call back your power and empower yourself to make the changes that you want to make, to let die what needs to die so that you can be reborn anew, to cut things off, to burn those bridges so now you can create something spectacular. This is why I love Scorpio season. I will always love Scorpio season because this is the time when we truly change our lives. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely hope that you got at least one important piece of information that you can use going forward. Again, I will be going live on Thursday to talk all about my upcoming program, Scorpio Season Soul Work. So definitely tune into that. All of my products and services, everything is listed in the description box below if you didn't know. So check all of that out. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for this week and beyond. All right, my loves, take care.